Good morning. Well, we kept the combine in one piece last night. Got opened up. Got 129 acres to run today. It's going to involve the Peat Bog and a lot of that rougher terrain we've been talking about. 129 acres today. Gets that finished. Yesterday we ran 26 semis. It's a real good day. We can do that today. We'd be close to the finish line down there and ready to move the next one. We'll see if we can keep it together, because right now we don't know if we can or not. Let's watch and find out. Our dryer kept pace with the combine yesterday. We dried the majority of what we shelled. He actually shut down late last night, and we ran aeration fans. As we've talked about before, we have power limitations, so we can't run our 220 horse fans on the far bin here at the same time that the dryer runs. To utilize that, we've got a series of switches that we can flip back and forth, but we actually use the same phase converter to power both. We do some of that as well with VFDs. Due to the power limitations, we've got certain series you can't turn certain things on to keep from going above that power limit. We'll sit down with my brother sometime and discuss that in detail. I'm just the messenger. So when you deal with the blowers, it's easy to overrun the blowers with this dryer. So when we're close to the bin, as we are here, it's less distance, it takes less power. When we're at our further bin, out there, obviously our power would be more limited, and it would slow our dryer down some. These blowers are two 30 horsepower blowers for a total of 60 horsepower. We've talked in the previous video of this turn, I should explain more. The air from the blowers would blow the corn out. So this turns, and it's got a series of rubber flaps. It's called an airlock. That seals the air from escaping and blowing the corn out and lets it blow corn this way. So the air goes through here and not up there blowing the corn out. When it does blow, those go bad, this door starts popping and there's a safety right here and it trips that safety. Speaking of the safety, we were having this issue and I found that if you put a block up here, it would solve the issue. Well, the block held it enough that it would just puke drain out and not set off the safety. And I have video of that. We'll share it on a short. But it made a big pile and we had to clean that up. And it wasn't any fun. It was early in the morning. Our local Poet ethanol plant is closed on Sundays. So that's not in play. I smell 2,4-D. My brother's been spraying. So I'm sure he's getting a lot of spraying done. We've had our high-speed disc running, sprayer. We're running the harvest. Guys are tired, but they're in good spirits. We're in the 4th round of a 5th round fight right now. We're all a little tired. Speaking of which, thanks to everybody that reaches out this time of year. Not gonna name any names, you all know who you are, to check on me, check on us, see how we're doing. This time of year we're really busy, so that means a lot when people check on us. Appreciate that. Well, I wondered where that went. Marker off the left front of the semi. Here's our our old corn planter. Ooh, it's cold. Kinsey 3800. We sold it on Big Iron. Another farmer bought it, paid for it. He said he'll be over here sometime to get it when he's less busy, which I figure means January or February. Told him that was fine. It wasn't hurting anything. That's the thing about farmers. You trust each other. I mean, as soon as he talked to me, I talked to him. Whatever we say goes on, we know that's what goes on. Back in the office. Hoping for a smooth day. It's a lot of fun to run the machine. Gets monotonous, obviously, because we do it all the time, but it's probably our favorite part. It's the part that we look forward to. It's the part we miss when we're done. But we are ready to be done. Getting everything loaded up. You can see our average yield's low right now. We've lost up to 10 rows in big areas along the trees, which happens. There's kind of a multiple hybrid situation going on here we're going to be checking out. As I discussed earlier, 129 acres today would get us to the end of this field. Now we do have an additional 50 across the road, across the highway, and it has a bin. It's an 11,000 bushel bin. We use it. We're hopeful that this corn will go out of the field and go straight in the bin. The bin's got a nice airflow, but I don't know if we'll get that lucky. We have had to haul it home, dry it, and haul it back. Discussed with Brian a little bit ago, 40 under basis. I mean, you got to put stuff in a bin if you can. See a lot of the guys that are always on their A game. See a lot of combines off and on setting, and we've been able to maintain ours running pretty consistently, and we attribute that to our soak up dryer and our system design at home. It's really testing the limits of everything this wet corn this year. We're starting to see moistures in the 18 to 21 range, so we are coming down, but mostly you're 19-20%, which is good. Man, the battleship looks gnarly today. So underneath right here we have what they call a rock trap. So materials going in, being drug in by the feeder house chain. There's a recessed area here. A rock's heavy enough, if it does ingest one between the slats, it drops right here in theory. If it gets to the rotor and on in the machine, it's bad. So knowing I'm probably going to pick rocks up today, we're going to dump that like so. In beans, we dump it sometimes a few times a day. In corn, I'm going to back out of there. Every day, every other day sometimes. It depends. I'm going to let that clear out. I'll get back with you. So we've let all of our debris out. You can see on this other side, we're going to put the safety in on the cylinder so it can't fall, this red here, and we'll get in right there and pull whatever that is out. My nephew Bryden coming to run the cart. I told him it feels like we just left here. It's probably because we did. So while the material's a little tough, ground speed's 3 miles an hour. Letting the head do some work. I've got the RPMs up on it a bit. When the material's tough, as long as you don't overrun the machine, it deals with quite a bit. Obviously, we go run the ground speeds we were running when the material was dry. We could plug the head or the machine. So we use some restraint. We're gonna go a little slow to start the day off. We've got woods here in the center, and it's island off on its own. Then we have a fence row there that goes that way. It follows along a creek, and along that creek that's at the bottom where it drops off in the distance is the peat bog we talk about. In this video, I'll show you a couple of pictures where we've sunk grain cart. We've had our battles with the bog. So that's why this video, we're going to call this the Battle of the Bog. Landowners here have been friends, and we've actually been here since, I believe, 2011, 2012. Been a great relationship to have, and hopefully they get a chance to see this. I'll send the link to them. 750 RPMs on the gearing off. The deck plate's at 3. Usually you can tell by the way the machine, if you're pushing it seems like they're not, the stalks aren't going between the deck plates. You can kind of adjust. I go through an area that's drought stressed or small ears, I'll tighten them up some, take them down to the 1 setting. But 3's kind of, this year 3 and 4 has been really the place for the deck plates. RPMs, 680 is okay for me. It's a little slow if I'm up with my ground speed, but if I'm doing some butt shelling, I'll slow the head down. If I can get by without butt shelling, I'll go ahead and ramp the head up and run my ground speed up. The gearing off in the book suggests many times just driving faster, adjusting to drive faster, or you don't have machine capacity to complement the head. I can tend to believe that. Many times, if we can get it set to where your ground speed's up, it likes ground speed. That's why we like gearing off. It likes ground speed. So we worked our way across to the back side of the woods I was talking about there in the center. And your bog is downhill there. There's another waterway that goes here, and then some ground that way. We kind of divide this field into sections. And right when we're full, look who shows up. Perfect timing. Once again, my 15-year-old nephew Bryden running the cart. It's Sunday morning. He's out of bed early and down here working after he worked late. And he's doing it on his own. He's actually volunteering, so let's give him a hand for that. Well, I just heard over the radio the back door on one of the trailers was open. Grain cart went to fill it, and it went on the ground. Don't know which truck has the shovel now. He's requested shovels over the radio. Don't know I'll video that or not. We'll see how the atmosphere is as we approach. So we're coming up on a wash, and the John Deere weakness is the auger set's kind of low, and you can hit your own cart with it. This ravine is deep enough as we're going through that I had him pull forward, and then I pick him up after the ravine. We're in half-mile rows, so we have to clean out to be able to get to the other end. So he has to run the entire distance of the field with me while I unload. We come up on the end here, and we will clean out. That will get us back to the other end, and he'll be able to go dump while I'm coming back towards him. We repeat the cycle. Timing is everything. Trucks here on the end. Grain carts filling them. They're going to be busy today. I need 9 round trips out of each truck. think we can do it. We're right along Highway 128 actually. Sending our first truck didn't take long. We'll see how the guys are coming on the pile. I didn't go video the pile. It happens to everybody. I've spilled more than most. And when it does happen, sometimes you just want to get it cleaned up and over with. Which they did. Excellent, gentlemen. Thank you. Good group of guys we're working with, let me tell you. It's already banana 30. We are working our way closer to the woods. As we do, the end rows, they're on each side of it, will be easy because we'll have this gone and you can turn to do the ends. I'll show you about that here in a second. Okay, we're passing the woods. The rows that run that way, as soon as I've shelled here, gives me an easy place to turn around. A lot of times we have to get ends. Last night I was in, when I first opened up, I was in corners with trees and you can see in the mirror, but usually your auger right there, it's hard to tell tail swing on one of these. So you just always err to the side of caution. You don't want to hang the auger up in a tree. Particular varieties dried down. I'm seeing some 18s. We're also up on a hill, but even though we're on a hill and increasing, we had a dry year. It seems like our strip till corn, it handles that better. Many times if we tried to no-till this hill would just not be ideal conditions, and then to top it off it goes dry. The strip till with the nutrients, and on top of having a little tillage in the row, I think it really helps. And then by only tilling in the row, you're still sealed up in between the rows, so you conserve your moisture in the middle of the summer. We're on a hill and still right at the 200 mark on the peak of the hill. Our average doesn't reflect it from the trees primarily. It's just amazing some of these hybrids can perform like that. There's a point in time when I've seen a hill like this really be damaged. And while it is damaged, it's just amazing how resilient the new hybrid technology is. Alec pulling out in the 01 Burgundy with the Wilson. He's headed to the farm. We're waiting on the next truck to show up now. I'm dumping around 700 bushels in a round. So he's got the majority of the semi as soon as we get done dumping, which we're about to do. The kind of end rows we like. A lot of room to turn around. So we've got to go to the other side of this woods. I will have to notch a big area to turn around over there, which we do our method of going forward, back up, that way, back up, that way, back up, and then you've got an area. As long as you take your time and let the chains work, gathering chains right there you see, and the big sprockets on the front, it's really good about dragging it in, but you got to give it time to do so. Calmer deck plates being a little bit wider in the front definitely helps as well. So I ran 12 off, just a little area. That's going to let me back up, look in the mirror, make sure where my grain cart's at. You don't want to back into your grain cart. So now I've got my second set of 12, and we're doing that because of those limbs. Just in case you get one trapping you, by doing this, we go down, then you have an area, and if I have to pull out and move over, I'm not smashing and knocking corn over. A lot better method, so this is always the way I tend to go. As we round the corner of the woods, we can look down the hill right there. That is our peat bog. The peat bog is going to be soft. It doesn't matter what time of year. And it's got really good crop for the most part, as long as you can get in there. We're fairly dry now. I don't see us having any issue. There are a couple of areas we found that never solidify, and we've had to avoid those. We get over here and we'll just be extra cautious. Lots of rocks here on this hill. Just kind of sharing some of the things I'm watching and speaking about it. This hill, the corn will be a little smaller. It'll drag the average down, and you get down to the bog and it pulls it back up to give this field usually a pretty respectable average, all things considered. We've always enjoyed the challenges we get here, and if you work it hard, it does pay you back. It's a nice farm. Trying to get some of these ears, they're a little lower, so I've got my head running low. I'm also watching for rocks and the occasional stick on the right side. If I jam a stick and the snap rolls, they'll suck them in. Usually it slips the clutch and then they're stuck. It's usually a disassembly to get it out. Also carry a punch and a chisel. Sometimes I'll use a mini sledge and I'll bust the piece of stump out, or piece of stick. You get all kinds of things along the edges of these fields. So I usually just slow down, take a little extra caution like we are here. I've got you riding on my cell phone holder. Hopefully that makes a good video. I don't know. Best thing's POV, and the only way I got is that right now. I edit some of my footage, but it's kind of a minimum. I'm going to leave it pretty unedited for the most part. The only time I'm editing is if it's something that's just not cool or it's kind of annoying. You know, I don't want to be boring. I try to get rid of that stuff and just show things that are interesting. If I start to get boring, you'll probably see me slow down a little bit. But a lot of my footage is going to be shorts, and it has music in the background because I was listening to the radio when I would record them, but they're older footage. I'll have to remix those with some music just so that YouTube's happy. But this winter there's a lot of old footage that I've got that's really cool, and I'm going to turn it into some shorts, so we have that to look forward to in the off seasons. Just got 3/4, and the way I ran, I made room for our grain cart. That way he's able to get in here too.
1, 7, 6, 5, 2, 7.
Dry like this, we can park the trucks in the field. It's a big positive. Quick video to point this out. There's a washout here. Water runs down this area and goes on down to the bottom of the hill. If you go into this, you can actually poke your snout into the other side and it bends them under. So you always, when you see a washout, you pre-plan for it by raising your head and preparing. I'm not even going to attempt to go through there without both hands on the wheel. Just thought I'd add that. See the corn kind of laying on the ground here. That's from deer running through the woods. They knock it down and lay in it and things. We've just got to watch to make sure that there's no sticks in it.
We're on the back side. We got the front side inrows around the woods done, and the front side of the woods done. Now the back side, and working off this pass and getting ready to do more of the same. So there's an open ditch kind of in between parts of this field. We're going over the hill. We're coming down to the bog area. The woods that we've been working around is right back there. So we're working off another indrow, getting closer to the Peat Bog. Gets really hilly back in this area back here, and really low over there. We are on the back side of the woods. We just shelled there earlier. Semis are on the other side of the woods. Peat Bog is right down here, and we're working our way towards it. Some of the worst part of it's right there. Best crop, worst for equipment. And I'm gonna get him a road by shelling through here, and then we've connected all the way around the woods. So no matter what, he's got an easy way to get to the trucks. We're trying to carry about 800 bushel out or so. Show you what we've done. All this area is done. I'm working behind the woods here, going to connect those, and then we'll start working off these individual pieces. Monitor shows 69 acres left. We've got all around the woods done. This is the Peat Bog area that we're entering. I'm already feeling it to be softer. So this should be pretty interesting. We've been fighting some washouts. Just a little bit of everything. This time of day it's hard to see, just the way the sun lays and things, so I'm really relying on the header control. Shows we've ran 15,000 bushels today. That's 15 semi-loads. It is 3 o'clock, so we probably have time to, if everything stays together, we could get this done today. But it's going to take quite a bit more time. We've got this here, and there's 40 acres in another field in the back that's kind of a two-part field. Look at the topography change. Really neat place. So we'll get down in this area, and the corn will be really, really good. And this year we kind of made sure we were a little later planting it, if I remember correctly, and my brother planted it, but waiting on the bog, making sure it's all dried out so we get all of it planted. Also, this opens it up for our grain cart to be on either side of the woods. So he's now got an area that he can work and get to the semis easier. We're actually down in the Peat Bog area. It's softer dead ahead, but it's just a little mellow right now, but it's not trying to stick us. We're not running the cart heavy down here, and I've been not filling my hopper just to be safe. Definitely can tell it sucks down some power. It's glare, but along the ditch there, we've got some trees down and things. Look at the progress we have made today. This place is really cool. Watching for trees, just different things. Obviously, get a glare here for just a second. Sorry about that. Get behind these trees, what do you see? Kind of along the ditch. We're actually down in the bog right now. You can see the creek's right next to me to the right. Well, my right. And the water level, when it floods and things, this just gets saturated. And it doesn't show, it looks like you can drive in it. It even feels like it at first, but if you stop, it, whatever you're in, sinks. I've had some close calls with the Hagee in here. I'll show some pictures of our grain cart. They're a little grainy because they're older pictures, but we had a grain cart stuck in here and I thought it was going to turn over, so I'll share those pictures with you. Just some interesting history to share. Now this area, back the first year we farmed it, you could kind of get in there, but I know if I enter there right now, I'm stuck. It's just amazing how things change. So we just avoid that. I don't want to be stuck today. Been there, done that. We'll stay out of there. And that's it. We'll just stay out of there and we're good to go. We've got out of the Peat Bog area unscathed. Now we go to onto the back. There's an area there. And there's also on the other side of these trees, there's 40 acres. It shows that we have 66 to go. We're gaining on it. He kind of island around the worst part. And beans, sometimes we can sneak some in, but it's just usually that one area. And he island off a little more right here. The final 12 on this side. And then we're going to move right back here. Go check that out. My nephew is running the grain cart, Bryden. We're really giving him a workout today. A lot of driving here with the grain cart. Like I've said in previous videos, to me, that's one of the most demanding jobs that we have during harvest. He's been doing great today. We've not even had any close calls really, so we'll keep it that way. Pretty big limb, but I was able to pull back on the handle and kind of get away from it. No issue. I don't know how much of this footage I'll use, but figured roll video of it running, we might as well have that. And it's easier than when I hold the phone, of course. Folded up just to be safe. We had a close call with the auger, so I had him back up. Didn't get that on video, but that's the Peat Bog. 300 bushels. Let's see about my grain cart filling skills. One-handed. Well, that's not real fair. It's going to run out too early. There's a lot of room on there. Now we don't want to spill any. Moment of truth. Well, it ran out. I didn't really know it was going to, I promise. It was all for camera. May have run right off the side. We're clearing some area. 50 acres to go. There's 10 acres right through here, and then we go on the other side of the trees for the final 40. Some of the harder part down through here is done. So far so good. We had a little bit of a battle, a couple issues I didn't video, but not bad. We've got 40 acres left. Head around here to this part. We got all this other done. I'm bouncing around through the field, sorry. But we've got to do this part right there. That's where we're headed next. We're opening up. We're leaving our 12 next to the trees now. We're dropping our 8-point. Haven't talked about that. We do a little auto steering. And we're going to set an A, and when I get to the other end, I will drop a B, and that's going to set my lines to steer on. And shows we've got 38 acres to go. Doing some opening up. Got to really know your boundaries on your machine. And it's easy to make mistakes. Look at the size of that hole. Oh man, that was a close one. We lack 20 acres of getting done. We've got to load trucks for Poet for in the morning. Few things we're gonna call it, that way the trucks can be loaded. We'll resume here tomorrow with 20 to go. That's not bad. We're gonna go just across the highway for another 50 acres, and that bin I talked about's over there, so we'll probably have some action over there filling the bin. May have to load a truck when I get home. If I don't, thanks for watching. We'll see you on the next one. Don't want to spill on the last one tonight either. Okay, that's enough.